All right, everybody. Texas did exactly what you're supposed to do versus UTSA, and I'll get to that in just a second. But just to let the YouTube algorithm get the time passed, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then comment down below your thoughts on the game. But now that we're about 15 seconds through, belt to ass, belt to ass, and right now I'm gonna give you about like 30 seconds or something like that because I'm about to get animated. It's gonna get loud. Okay, I'm just this is the Texas long. We waited a long time. Okay, we've seen this shit in the mud. Excuse my language. I might have a few words fly. Who know? I don't know. Okay, we've waited a long time as Texas fans. I know this was just UTSA, but in the past, this is the team that Texas trips up on. This is the team that Texas goes out there and has a 28-point win. Not 28.1, but like 28. It's 28 to 14 or 28 to 17, right? There's things to nitpick. We don't have to worry about that anymore because we got a really good football team that is coached extremely well, that is conditioned extremely well. We're probably one of the better conditioned teams on the in the nation, but we are allowed. We have the ability to rotate dudes. Quinn Ewers, great example. Most teams cannot lose their Heisman quarterback, and then just without missing a beat, without skipping a beat, boom, pick up where they left off. Now there were a couple plays where Arch Manning, it was like, hey, this dude's human. He's not he's not just some superhero, right? But as soon as those plays showed themselves, he corrected it. He went out there and he had better drives after that, and continued to show. You know what? Maybe this is another Manning. Maybe Texas got it Manning. And to that, I love that. I love that. But I want y'all to just sink it in. Okay, just let it sink in. The University of Texas will most likely be a number one seed. Number one. I'm baseball mind. Number one ranked team in the nation. Now, sure, what does it mean being ranked number one in September? Not that fucking much. Okay, excuse my language. Not that much. But it is a sign of where this program is going and where this program really has been. This Texas fans, I can't say it enough. We've been in the mud. Think about this. 2020, we were it was a 7-3 season. If Cameron Dicker hits that field goal and we go 8-2, we don't hire Steve Sarkisian. And we have more years of Tom Herman because we cannot get rid of him because we have a buyout attached. And then on top of that buyout, now he's won 8 games and he won the Big 12 conference. It's just so many things had to fall in line for us to a get Steve Sarkisian, B have Steve Sarkisian be the coach that he's been at the University of Texas. I just, as a Texas fan, I love it, right? And I'm soaking up every last second I can. I don't know when we're going to be going through the mud again. But I've told myself one thing. If there's one thing that I'm going to do as a Texas fan, I'm going to enjoy wins. I let myself know that. If Texas is good, I'm going to enjoy Texas being good. I didn't really enjoy Texas being, I took it for granted. The 2000s. I took that shit for granted. No longer. No. I'm going to enjoy every last second that the University of Texas goes out there and dominates opponents. Georgia had a stinker versus Kentucky. Now, sure, people will be like, well, look, that's the SEC. That's the SEC. Week in and week out, you got to be ready, right? I'm sorry. Forgive me with that shit. Miss me with that shit. I don't care. If Texas shows up like they did today, Kentucky, no. That's not even that game's not even an afterthought. I mean, before, current, after. No thought on that game. Win. W. If the University of Texas can continue to take the same approach that they do which is a week in and week out approach. Listening to Steve Sarkisian talk, I should really say it the other way, because this is what I meant to say. Listening to Nick Saban talk is like listening to Steve Sarkisian talk. Listen to Nick Saban on the college game day shows. It'll sound like Steve Sarkisian's up there talking. You listen to Pete Carroll, same thing. Texas, like, one, hey, tough all day for Roger Clemens, right? But guess what? He also says another phrase. Pete Carroll said a lot. It's all about the ball. It's all about the ball. It's all about the ball. So these are just immediate reactions, and because I just Texas being a number one team tomorrow, I'm gonna soak it up. Okay, is it a destination for the University of Texas? No, the destination is winning multiple national championships in a row, consecutively and consistently, because that's the level of school that the University of Texas can be. The most talented recruiting bed in America. Texas football players. High school football in Texas. Look, I understand Florida's good. California's good. Georgia's good. There are some other good states. Ohio's good. But Texas, it's a different level of religion in here. In this state, it means something else. So, those are just immediate thoughts to Texas being ranked number one and enjoying the University of Texas. Now, immediate thoughts on the specific win that we just had. First, my heart. I don't know. I wanted to say breaks because we don't know the extent. We'll find out tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day that we're going to find out on Quinn Ewers what the extent of the injury is, how long he's going to miss. If he misses a week, his Heisman odds are in jeopardy. We have, I believe, and let me just double check real quick. I believe we have a bye week in between ULM and No, we don't have. It's in between Mississippi State and Oklahoma. Okay. If he isn't able to get back versus Mississippi State, I, as much as I want him to, I unless there's other injuries, I don't think he's going to win the Heisman. I just don't think that's an award that's going to be attainable for him if he has to sit out the next 2 weeks, because missing 2 weeks in the Heisman, it's as stupid as it is, that matters. But for the season, really, as long as we get him back by Oklahoma, and we don't even really need him back by Oklahoma. Arch Manning can certainly win some football games, if not the rest of the football games for us, if we had to. But I care about Quinn Ewers, okay? This is a dude that Dallas, like, he is a Dallas kid. He's done well. I don't give a shit what Oklahoma fans say. Quinn Ewers did very well last year. Yeah, he threw 2 picks. Both of those picks also, well, one of those picks went off the tight end's hands. And then the other pick, in my opinion, some Longhorn fans don't share this opinion with me, but I have this opinion. Adonai Mitchell probably should have fought for the ball more. I mean, the defensive back crashed in, and this is not to really go too much off on a tangent, but to say Quinn Ewers has played well in Dallas. I would like him to be able to have his final year in Dallas, his send-off, go out there, beat the ever-loving shit out of that team, and go off and ride off in the sunset on his burnt orange and white, not steer, Bevo. Now, outside of that, just depth. I mean, Arch Manning comes in and looks amazing right out the gate. You have Isaiah Bond, like Steve Sarkisian mentioned this, goes 75 yards down the field on a bubble screen, okay? And then immediately after that, you have Ryan Wingo go out there and run a post route. Teams can't. If we're resting our ones, and I put air quotes because it's a 1A, 1B situation, and it's not just like the wide receiver room. You look at this Ethan Burke, who got a significant amount of snaps last year, as a what most would consider starter worthy snaps. He was out there getting the pick six at the very end of the game in the fourth quarter. The amount of depth that we have, Colin Simmons looking amazing. I mean, defensive back. You can have Manny Muhammad miss a couple snaps. Malik Muhammad, Manny is his nickname. You can have him miss a few snaps, and you got Gavin Holmes out there. You have some people have to be pointed out to. Hey, by the way, we lost our best cornerback for a couple snaps. Trevor Gooseby steps up for Kelvin Banks for a little bit. That was just one or two snaps, but still, there is so much depth on this roster. And specifically, Coach Becton has got this roster conditioned to the point where, first off, we don't, like I said earlier, we don't even really need those snaps. Like, we really wouldn't need to rotate. But if you got it, why don't you? Right? If you got guys like Silas Bolden and Jonte Cook just waiting for a shot, yeah, throw them in, rotate them, keep these guys fresh. And that's the other thing. Like I'm probably gonna expand on this a little bit more in the next week. Colin Simmons, yeah, he probably needs more run. Maybe start him. Maybe, right? He's a really good football player. And he's one of these guys where the game comes natural to him. High football IQ type guy with extreme athleticism. And when you talk about pulling him out, now you got okay. Well, who are you sitting? Are you sitting Baron Sorrell? Are you sitting Ethan Burke? Are you sitting Trey Moore? It's just I would rather keep these guys fresh. Keep every single guy fresh, because at that point, unless your name's Anthony Hill, Malik Muhammad, or Jade Barron, we don't need you to play. And even then, we don't. Like I said, we don't need these guys, right? But Anthony Hill, you don't take that dude off the field. Like it's just that simple. Malik Muhammad, you don't take him off the field if he can stay on the field. You don't take him off the field. Jade Barron, same thing. These guys are shown to be lockdown dudes. Anthony Hill's Anthony Hill. There's literally no else. Dude's a literal monster. He's like a unicorn. He's like, this might be overstepping it, but he's like Vince Young if he were a linebacker, in my opinion. Just an extremely special football player. Running back, Jared Gibson. I hadn't even looked at the stats. I hadn't even looked at the stats. I'm just now about to start on the every play. Jared Gibson, 13 rushes, 75 yards. I know there's some consternation about is the University of Texas not going to have a 1,000-yard running back? Is Stark not going to have his first 1,000-yard running back? Possibly. I don't think so. I think he's still going to get this as the year goes on, and we start playing different ball games. We start playing ball games that maybe it's a little bit closer. Maybe we're having to work harder for our points. But maybe we don't. Maybe we can just sit here passing the ball, airing the ball out, destroying dudes. Arch Manning, 9 of 12, 223 yards, 18.6 yards per attempt. Insane. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He did have a couple shaky plays, but outside of that, I mean, Arch the 67-yard run. The stadium got loud. Arch Manning, his 3 plays are the three loudest plays in DKR this year, which is since I started measuring. The first week he goes 132.0 decibels. No, or 130.2 decibels. Okay. Then this last game, 135 decibels. Listening to Arch Manning, listening to the crowd, and with Arch Manning going, It is actually as loud as a jet engine. It's as loud as a jet engine taking off. The fans like themselves some Arch Manning. I mean, who wouldn't? It's hard not when your name is that level of fanfare. And I had an interesting question that was put in the chat saying, "Hey, Arch is the most popular backup since," and the answer is easily Vince Young. But Arch is a VY level dude as far as impact on the game, impact with the fan base. We got some special football players at the University of Texas. We are up. This is a good time to be a Texas fan. And look, I'm not going to shame Texas fans for jumping on late. Like, if you just started watching football 2023, cool. Glad you're on board. Welcome. Hook 'em horns, right? But for the people that were here 2014, 2015, 2016, for the people that were here 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, this is for you. This season, this tomorrow is for you. Enjoy it. Tomorrow the University of Texas will be ranked number 1, and that will be the first time since I believe the year 2008. Enjoy it, and I don't know what else to say other than hook 'em.